Good evening, I'm Bill Mulholland, and welcome to Good Sports. Tonight we're going to bring you back to the spring of 1960 as we reminisce about the 1960 Tolmon Tigers undefeated Eastern Division champions with my guest, Ted McConnon, the coach of the Tolmon High baseball team, and his all-black Stone Valley catcher, Ted Dolan. Welcome to Good Sports.
Glad to be with you.
Great to have you here, Coach. And Ted, this should be a fun show to bring back some memories. Now, Coach, 1960 marked the beginning of your coaching career at Tolmon that lasted 19 years, from 1960 to 1978. Now, you succeeded the legendary baseball coach Alex Nahigian. Why don't you describe what type of baseball coach Nahigian was?
The best, absolutely the best. And as sure as I see him next time, I'm telling him what a legend he is. He'll be glad to hear it. Now, Alec, as far as baseball is concerned, I don't think I met anybody who had the insight that Alec had in baseball, especially teaching the techniques. He was wonderful. Every position he knew, and he would teach the kid the right way to do things. When I took over that year after him, it was a crazy move for me to make. You know, you don't follow Notre Dame, Newt Rockne. If you're going to be a football coach, you don't want to go after him. Going after Alec was like going after a legend, as you called him. Terrific coach and a terrific guy.
Now, you went back further rather than just succeeding him. You actually played with him?
I played with him,
Slaters,
yeah.
And
yeah, we played together with the old Slaters when the New England League, before it was in organized baseball. And in fact, it started at Armistice Boulevard. And then went to McCoy Stadium. So we played over there on opening days at McCoy Stadium.
Yeah.
Alec came down to us in Pawtucket from Holy Cross. Our manager at Pawtucket Slaters told us we were going to get a power hitter in from Holy Cross. And I was expecting Bruno Malinowski or somebody to come in. In came Alec, of kind of short stature, you know.
Yeah.
But he did have the power, and great ball player. Could hit, run, field, everything.
And then he took that great ball playing and made it into a great coach with a great instructor.
That's right. That's right. Exactly that. And, you know, when we played teams, I'd see him talking to other players on the other team that he thought were doing things real well. And he'd find out how they were doing it, why they were doing it, and so forth. And, of course, he played for one of the greatest college baseball coaches of all time at Holy Cross, Jack Barry, who was affiliated with the Boston Red Sox. So Alec had a great background in baseball.
Yeah. Now, Ted, you played for Coach Nahigian in 58 and 59, and in fact, 1958, Tolmon went all the way, and we're the state champions. What was it like to play for Coach Nahigian?
Alec, like Coach McConnon said, he was very knowledgeable and very passed that knowledge on to us, you know, as high school players. He could instruct us, and he really taught us the game. And one thing about Alex, he took it very serious, and the ball players, you took it serious. You played for Alex, you knew the game, and he was very regimented how he did things, and we all had certain jobs to do, and he'd teach us individual positions and what to do, when to do, and you better not miss a bunt sign, or you better not miss a throw the wrong base, because he'd be waiting for you when you come back to the dugout.
Yeah. Now, he was a real stickler for uniforms, too.
Very. I can remember my sophomore year, we're playing an exhibition game in at Brown. And I was sitting on the bench hoping to get in the game, and finally, 6th or 7th inning come along, and he said, Dolan, after this inning, go out to right field. So my first opportunity to play as a sophomore, and first time with the Tolmon uniform on, the inning ended, I ran out to right field.
All excited, right?
All excited, my first time, you know, out to right field, and I wasn't out there but 30, 40 seconds, and coach is calling timeout. He's calling me back in from right field. What'd I do, you know? So I come jogging back in, and I had my uniform pants bloused down to my ankles, and you played for Alex, everybody bloused their uniform pants 3 inches below the knees, everybody.
Yeah.
So you know, my first game, being a sophomore, I didn't realize it. So, of course, Alex called me, and he had me look at the other players, and he told me, he says, you know, the only guy I know that blouses his pants down around his ankles is Ted Williams, and he batted .388 with the Red Sox last year. When you bat .388 with the Red Sox, I'll let you blouse your pants down. In the meantime, you get your pants back up around your knees and get out there in right field. I learned the hard way. Right out the right field I went.
Oh, that's a great story.
Yeah. He had a way of getting the point across.
I guess so. Now, Coach, your 1960 team ended up with 7 of the 9 All-Black Stone Valley players came from the Tolmon Tigers team. What were the expectations going into that season, which is your first season with Tolmon High School?
Well, we had high expectations because the material was so good, and Alec had really taken care of his old buddy by leaving all these kids here. And my biggest problem at that time was fitting them all in. We had 2 or 3 other players beyond the starting 9 that were very good.
And we've got your team right up here on the screen.
Yeah. And so my problem was I tried to get all the kids in the game as much as I could. So in that regard, I'd move some kids around. I had one kid, for example, his name was Bruce Dawson, and he was hitting better than anybody. The year before, he had played a lot, but he wouldn't say he was a starter. And I had to get him in the lineup. So I'd move him to left field, center field, first base, wherever, to get him in the game. And the beauty of it all was these kids didn't mind that. They understood that this kid was really playing well and hitting well and needed to be in there, so they wouldn't mind giving up, which made it very easy for me.
Now, we've got a photo, Teddy, that you brought in that shows the All-Black Stone Valley team here. Who do we have here, starting with my finger here?
To your left there, you have Joey DeCruz, who was a pitcher for us, a left-handed pitcher. Joey pitched, him and Mike Smith did the bulk of the pitching for us that year.
Yeah. And who's next? That's you next to him?
That's me, standing next to him with the bat.
You were a catcher, right?
I was the catcher.
What were you doing with the bat, Ted?
I don't know. The guy who should have the bat was a fella standing next to me, Bob Johnson. Bob was just a step above the rest of us. He was a tremendous ball player. He was our first baseman.
And now the next guy is one of the 2 non-Tolmon Tigers.
Right. The fellow next to us, Joe Pinto from Central Falls. Joe played summer ball with us at Phil at Carson. And next to Joe Pinto is Tommy Humphrey, who was a 3-year starter at Tolmon.
And we just finished coaching a couple of years ago at Tolmon.
Did he? Now, he took over for your coach after you left in '78, right?
Tommy also coached Tolmon to the state championship.
1981, undefeated.
Had the same methods as Coach McConnon when he was coaching, too. Same mannerism as he was coaching. Tommy was always a knowledgeable baseball player, knew the game. Next to Tommy there is Kenny Weiberg, who was a shortstop, tremendous fielder. Next to Kenny Weiberg is Ed McNaught from St. Rayfield. Eddie's doing high school umpiring now, I believe. And next to McNaught is Johnny Haka. Johnny was a center fielder for us. Johnny hit the long ball when he got a hold of it, and good defensive ball player. And to the right is the fellow that Coach McConnon just mentioned, Bruce Dawson. Bruce was the type of fellow he had to get in the lineup. One thing about Bruce, you told him to play right field, he played right field. You tell him to catch or play short, he'd go anywhere you put him. And just a tremendous hitter and a tremendous guy.
You know, Bill, I would have helped Teddy with those names. I can't read them from here.
Well, Ted, now Coach McConnon's coaching style was different from Alex Nahigian. What style of coach was Coach McConnon? You had strict disciplinarian, and then in your senior year, you changed almost completely.
Yeah, they were both very similar in a lot of ways. They were both sticklers on the points of the game. They both made sure you knew the game. They both made sure that you did the right thing and you played the game like it should be played. And very knowledgeable. Coach McConnon was a little laid-back sort of coach than Alex, where Alex would let you know if you made a mistake, you threw the wrong base. Ted would sit back, and if you made a foolish play, he'd just look out of the corner of his eye, and you know you made a mistake.
And who do we have in this photo here, Ted? You can look up on the screen.
That's Coach McConnon and Joey DeCruz, and that's me to the right.
The battery, right?
The battery, right. Joey was the ace of the staff with Mike Smith. And
So Coach McConnon wasn't a screamer?
No, he wasn't a screamer. Everything was positive with Coach McConnon. No matter what, if you had a bad day, Coach would find something good about it. Always found something positive.
In here it was different, though, Ted.
You kept it inside. You kept those relaxed. I remember, I don't know, playing La Salle or we're playing St. Rayfield, and we were beating them 1-0. And going into the last inning, they had the first 2 men on. And I noticed the guy at first base was taking a big lead. So I looked down at Bob Johnson, called for the pitch out. We were going to go to pick the fella off first base because he looked like he was a sitting duck out there. The only thing, when the ball come to me, I threw it to Johnson. It went off over his head to down the right field line. And cost us the game. 2 runners scored. And of course, I was down in the dumps walking back, and I can remember the coach coming over to me and telling me what a smart play it was. You know, and I can understand that, you know, I lost the game by making a physical error, but he told me it was a smart play, that, you know, if the throw was there, we'd have had him get out of the inning.
Yeah.
So he always had something positive to say, no matter what we did out there.
My heart wasn't in it, though, Ted, you know.
I can remember Bob Rowe one day talking about that. He was out in the outfield, and Bob had a bad day. He was up to bat 3 or 4 times. I don't think he got a hit. He made a couple of errors in the outfield, and Bobby was a tremendous ball player. Bobby was all-state his junior year. And we're walking off the field, we're getting ready to go on the bus, and we're trying to figure, what's Coach McConnon, what positive thing can he say to Bob about this? And as we're walking out towards the bus, the coach said to Bob, was your girl at the game today? And Bob says, no, she wasn't. He says, that's a good thing.
Always looking on the positive side.
Hey, what are you going to do?
Now, Coach, your catcher in your senior year was Teddy Dolan, all Black Stone Valley in 59 and 60. What type of baseball skills did Ted Dolan possess that enabled him to go have such an outstanding high school career?
Well, primary, it came from inside. Teddy, and he doesn't look it, but he was a tough kid, even though he weighed 135 pounds. And he had a great arm, a great arm. In fact, we used to have an excellent infield, and we used to do it because it's good for you, but also to show off Teddy's arm, because he'd throw down in the infield, and, you know, and the other team was watching, and they're not going to run on him. So they didn't run on him that much because he had such a great arm. But the big part of it was he was just a tough kid behind the plate, you know. He was in the game every second, loved it. I can remember one game, we had a game over in East Providence, a practice game, and the batter swung around and hit Teddy in the back of the head with his bat. I mean, pretty good shot. So I said, Ted, we got to get you over to the hospital right away. He says, you're not taking me over to the hospital. I said, why? He says, my mother's over there. I don't want her to see me with my head all banged up, you know. He was a tough kid.
Yeah.
Tough
and you had a certain saying for Weiberg and Dolan?
Oh, yeah. You know, hitting wasn't their strong point. They hit 400, 200 each.
He used to introduce Kenny and I as 400 hitters, 200 apiece. I think he was being generous a few times.
I had another kid who hit 300 for me, 100 each year, you know?
Well, guys, we're going to take a quick little PSA for the upcoming Fireworks Committee auction that's coming up on Cox Cable here, and then we'll be right back. So let's roll that tape.
Sure is empty in here, Ron.
Yeah, it's pretty quiet in here too, Bill.
But it won't be for long.
That's right, Bill, because on June 7th and 8th, we're going to be here with all of our friends broadcasting live across the state for the 6th annual Pawtucket Fireworks Auction.
Tell me more, Ron.
This 2-day spectacular, fun-filled event lets you, the viewer, pick up some terrific bargains and support our city's annual 3rd of July fireworks extravaganza in the process. Watch as we offer over 250 items for your bidding pleasure, ranging from jewelry to sports collectibles, from restaurant gift certificates to auto alarm systems, from outdoor summer items to infant products. We'll even let you buy one of our beautiful limited edition 1997 fireworks t-shirts, or how about a meat pie from Joe Sadlier's Meat Pies. You won't want to miss any of this auction, so mark your calendars now.
That's right, Ron. Saturday, June 7th from 12 noon to 4:30 p.m. And again, we'll pick up right after the Red Sox game for a special 2-hour sports collectibles and related items for your bidding pleasure. And then we'll be back on Sunday, June 8th, live from 2 to 6 p.m. Call your friends, call your relatives, and call us with your pledges as we make this year's volunteer auction the most successful of its kind. We'll be here, so I sure hope you will be too.
Let's make this year's 3rd of July display a blast.
We're back reminiscing about the 1960 undefeated Eastern Division champions baseball team, Tolmon baseball team, with Coach McConnon and Ted Dolan. Now let's talk about the team. Your starting lineup, starting at first base, was Bob Johnson.
Bob Johnson, he was a junior that year, wasn't he, Ted?
Yeah,
He was a junior, and the year before he hit a lot of long balls, but he didn't hit for average. But in the junior year, he started to hit the ball for average and for distance. Bobby, later on, the senior year, every game we played at McCoy Stadium, there were at least 12 scouts over there.
Is that right?
Yeah, and he finally signed after his senior year with the Los Angeles.
Now here's a picture of, this is your starting infield, right?
Yeah.
Who do we have here, Coach?
We have Bobby Johnson, Butch Garvin, Kenny Weiberg, and Tommy Humphrey.
All right.
And
Now you're talking about Johnson actually got signed by the Angels, was it?
signed by the Angels. In fact, a fellow from Central Falls, Leo Labasia, who was a scout, he's the one that signed him up.
Oh.
Yeah, and he went out right out from high school graduation. He went out to spring training.
Bobby Johnson in high school, McCoy Stadium, the fences were back another 35 feet than they are now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Bob Johnson in high school would hit a few out of the park.
Yeah.
With the distance of the old fences.
He was an excellent fielder, too.
Yeah. And why did he possess such great batting power?
Well, he was a strong kid.
Was he?
Yeah, and I don't think he had it to it. In fact, he lived in Lincoln. Lincoln didn't have a high school then. And he used to come down to Pawtucket to Tolmon every day. The whole year. He played football, basketball, and baseball. And he'd be hiking down those roads every day.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Just a good all-around athlete.
A good all-around athlete. And he'd be there every day, till 4 or 5 o'clock.
Loved the game, loved baseball.
Yeah.
Now,
Loved the
second
game.
baseman, Don Garvin.
Butch Garvin, yeah. He was a very small kid. Excellent fielder. And, good base runner. And he got his hits, too. He was very good.
Yeah.
Then you got Weiberg.
You got your shortstop,
Yeah, Kenny.
the human vacuum cleaner, right?
Oh,
You told me
gee.
about him?
He was the best fielder I've played with around. He was a minor league fielder. I mean, in high school, he had tremendous glove, soft hands, and a tremendous arm, and he cover a lot of ground.
You know what we do? Excuse me, Ted. You know what we do with him? I used to hit ground balls for the kids in the gym before we could get outside.
Sure.
And I had a thing going that I'd hit them until they missed. I can't get Weiberg
Were
to
you
miss.
out, Coach?
Yeah, I couldn't get him to miss. Oh, he was tremendous. Tremendous
Yeah,
fielder.
just great soft hands. He had the quickness to get rid of the ball on the double play, and a real great defensive ball player.
Now, your third baseman was
Tommy Humphrey.
Tommy Humphrey, who, again, as we said, took over as coach for you
Yeah,
back
he was
in
my
78.
assistant for 6 or 7 years.
Oh, was he?
And then he took over.
What type of ball player was Tommy?
Excellent. He got hurt in his senior year, and he missed quite a few games, didn't he, Ted?
Yeah, he hurt his shoulder.
Hit his shoulder.
Separated his shoulder.
And but he got in there for the finals. He's an excellent hitter and excellent base runner. And he went and played in URI afterwards.
Did he?
Yeah.
All right. Now, your outfield. Who are your outfielders?
Well, that one kind of shifted around a little bit. We started off with Louis Godino, didn't we? The first
Louis Godino was out there. You actually had 4 good outfielders.
4 outfielders, yeah. We had
Who'd you have?
Louis Godino, John Harker, and we used to work Bruce Dawson in somewhere, and Bro, right?
Bobby Bro.
Yeah,
Haka, Godino.
yeah.
Now, there was something about, what about those outfielders? Some of them actually made the All Blacks and Valley team in 59, Ted, you were telling me?
Yeah,
before the show,
actually,
and didn't make in 60?
you showed the photo there of the 1960 All Blacks.
50-19.
50-19.
Yeah.
2 of the fellows who made the 50-9 team, Mike Smith and Bob Rowe, were on the 50-9 team. And the following year, 1960, we had 7 of the 9 on the All Valley team, and Mike Smith and Bob Rowe were not selected, so it could have very easily been all 9 of us on the All Valley team.
Coach.
Yeah.
And as it turns out, you didn't even go over and win the whole thing, but we'll be talking about that a little bit. So your catcher was, as we talked about,
Ted Dolan.
Teddy Dolan. We got a great picture of Ted from the 59 shot.
If they'd
right
accounted
here.
for foul balls, Ted would hit 400
Oh, is that right?
by himself.
Now, who was telling me, one of you guys was telling me about Jerry Philbin. There was a Jerry Philbin story with Ted Dolan.
Back them days, they used to hire, get a couple of students to shacky flag balls, foul balls, to get the balls back in play. You only had 3 or 4 game balls, or half dozen game balls, and McCoy Stadium, they go over the roof, or they go down the foul lines. And Jerry Philbin used to get a couple of dollars to shacky the balls, get them back in play. And Jerry would be down the left field line, and I'd come up, and he'd tell me he'd have a good job only for me. But he used to get disgusted. He'd say, "You had half a dozen foul balls, and then you strike out. Why don't you just strike out and save me the trouble of shacking these foul balls?"
Yeah. Now, your pitching staff, you had an outstanding pitching staff. In fact, in 1960, your ace of the staff, Mike Smith, came down with a lung ailment. I think he had pneumonia early in the season.
Yeah.
You lost him, but you didn't miss a step when you brought in Bobby Brough. So who are your pitchers there?
Joey DeCruz, a left-hander, excellent. And as you said, Mike was real good. And this Johnson boy at the end.
We got the picture coming up right
this
there.
This is what made life great for me.
So who do we have? We have DeCruz, your big left-hander there.
Yeah.
And then facing one way. And who are the other 3 guys?
Bro and Johnson.
And Smith in the middle.
Yeah.
Yep. So
Johnson, I'd like to say a word about Johnson, because, you know, in high school you play a couple of games a week. You know, you don't need 14 pitches.
Yeah.
And yet I had these 4 good ones. Johnson didn't get to pitch much, and yet, what a kid, you know. Those are the kind of kids you really appreciate. I appreciate all of them, but, you know, he never squawked. I'd get him in whenever I could, but he was really victimized. Any other time, he'd have been the #1 pitcher on our staff, and he would have been on most high school teams. And yet the kid had tremendous attitude, you know.
He was there a couple of years, and Mike come up as a sophomore.
Yeah.
Mike Smith.
Yeah.
And I can remember Mike was such a tremendous pitcher. He come in as a sophomore, and he pitched his first game in high school. He pitched a no-hit, no-run game against Bristol.
Is that right?
His first game in high school.
Did you catch him in that one, Ted? Did
yeah. And Mike he threw a heavy ball. He just blew it by the kid. He's a big, strong kid. He just blew the ball right by him.
Yeah. So you're going into the season, and you have 13 of you had 17 guys on the team in 1960. 13 of them were returning guys from a 59 team that lost only 2 games and got into the state playoffs again.
Yeah.
So here you are, you go 14-0 in the regular season, Eastern Division champs, go into the playoffs, you beat LaSalle in the quarterfinals, now you run into Deering, which is West Warwick, best of 3.
Yeah.
Why don't you guys talk a little bit about that series?
Yeah. The first game, what'd you have? We won the first game 1-0?
You lost the first game 1-0.
1-0.
Yeah.
Came back and smashed them 11-4.
Yeah, the key game was that 4th game. And this kid, Bobby Johnson, I told you about, that poor kid, he had a sore hand, you know, doing that whole thing.
That's right.
And it really hurt him.
Yeah.
And, you know, they usually getting a little static, you know, from people. But he hit one, the last out of the game. The kid had his back against the right field fence, right center field fence, and caught it, you know. He had a couple like that. And
that particular game, I think we got beat 4-3 or 3-2.
What, it was 4-3, and you had a couple guys on.
We had
runners the 7th.
We had men on second.
And you got Johnson up. I mean, what else could you ask for a coach, right? So what happened with it?
He hit a shot to dead center. It had to travel. Well, I think at the time McCoy Stadium was 420 feet, Coach.
Yeah, center field.
In the center field, and went right back against the wall.
Yeah. So when he hit it, what did you guys think?
I think it was all over.
It was all over. We won. We knew, you know, it was either out or it was going to be off the wall. And the ball game was ours. But
baseball is a funny game. The better team doesn't always win. Well, in all sports they don't, but in baseball particularly, the better team doesn't always win. In other words, if you have a mediocre team and have Bob Feller pitching for you, you can beat a team that's much better than you. We were really much better than the other team.
Yeah, I'd have to say.
I just say that because, it sounds like sour grapes, but we were good.
Well, like they say, on any given day.
Yeah, that's right.
On any given day.
You can lose. That's right.
You talk about that 60 team. Between our junior and our senior year, most of us played Legion ball, the same group of us, Smith, DeCruz, and Johnson. We played at Farrell Causing during the summertime. And we had won the state title in Legion. We had gone to the finals of the Eastern Regionals with the same nucleus, the same players. And we had beat Connecticut in the first round. Connecticut come back to beat us, and eventually we're the national champions in American Legion.
Who was the coach?
Joe Kakowski.
Joe Kakowski. There again, a couple of great...
Another legend.
Another legend. I mean,
absolutely.
you talk about, the athletes, the baseball players, and how could we miss? We played for Ted McConnon, Al Naheesian, Joe Kakowski, and Joe Gatta, all former minor league players, all great coaches, and great role models for us. You know, you had to learn the game, and they went above and beyond what they had to do. They took a personal interest in us, not only during the baseball, but you know, the coach knew who our girlfriends were. He knew what courses we were taking. He knew a lot about us. He took a personal interest and he kept us in line. And
I got to tell you this story.
Sure.
This one boy that I had playing for me, he wasn't one of these kids, but it was a little bit later. But his girl used to come to the stands all the time, and she used to sit right up behind the dugout, you know. And I used to tell the kids, if you want to be a ball player, you got to sleep, eat, and drink it, you know. So I said to this one kid, I said, you know, if you had your choice between having 2 base hits or going out with Gloria tonight, which one would you do? He looked at me and says, Coach, how about 1 base hit and let me go?
Now, one of the treats that you guys told me was that when you were going to be playing Rogers and De La Salle, the trip off to Newport.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that was one of the treats for when you were playing for Tolmon. Talk a little bit about that, Coach and Ted.
Yeah.
Why was that special?
Well, that was a big treat. Back them days, you know, you just played the teams in the Blackstone Valley, you know, Sacred Heart, Shea, St. Raphael, in the valley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So once a year, twice a year, you get down, we play Rogers or De La Salle down on Cardines Field.
It's an old-time ballpark. You love it. The kids love it.
It was a great ball, and it was an adventure for us. I mean, today the high school kids, they play all over the state. But we just played our games at McCoy Stadium or locally around, you know, Pawtucket, Central Falls, Woodstock, in the valley. To go down there was a treat. We'd get out of school about an hour early. We'd get a pass to leave school early.
That was big time.
That was big time. We'd get the pass, you know, and then they'd give us, what was it, 50 cents? You'd give us meal money, we used to call it. We all,
like the old pros.
We'd stop at the Newport Creamery.
Newport Creamery.
So on the way up, you're looking at the original Newport Creamery, right? I mean, you used to drive by there to get the Cardines Field.
Drive by there, and
that's right.
And we'd stop, and back them days, the first couple of years, they used to give us a couple of dollars for gas money for you. We'd
go in cars.
Take our own private cars. You know, we'd get the parents' cars for the day or your brother's car, and they let us go down 3 or 4 cars, and you get a couple of dollars for gas, and then
I worried a little.
It worried a lot, especially when the first team showed up the second inning one day.
Is that what happened, Coach?
We got lost.
We got lost. Jeez. Get them out of Pawtucket, they're gone.
Well, we've got about 30 seconds left. Real quickly, difference between the 1960 ball players, Coach, that you had and the 1997 players. What's the difference, if there is any?
I don't know. I'm not too familiar with the kids right now, but all I know is these kids loved it. They would come to me on Fridays after our game, and they'd say, Coach, you give us some bats and balls. They'd go out and they'd play. I'd look out the window after the games. They're walking up the Exchange Street together. You know, I don't see much of that now, because now they all got cars. These kids had nothing. You know, 2 nickels they couldn't rub together, these guys. Yeah. But they were all hanging together all the time. You know, I don't see as much of that now.
You still remember the team you saw the other 8?
Yeah, that's right. They used to go to dancing together. That's the only way they could get one girl.
Well, Coach and Ted, it was great reminiscing. I'm sure you brought back a lot of memories for a good sports audience. Congratulations on an undefeated season for Eastern Division champs, and thanks for being on Good Sports.
Thanks for having us.
Good to be here.
My pleasure. On our next Good Sports, we're going to get into part 3 of the athletic career of Hank Soar. We'll be talking about his baseball career and somewhat into his umpiring career. I'm Bill Mulholland for Good Sports. Good night. Goodbye.